stress intensifies nationwide.
And in sports, Ohio men's basketball 5-game win streak comes to an end. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Fallon Howard.
And I'm Nick Veland. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. Many Ohioans are still without power after Winter Storm Landon. The ice storm left thousands without power over the weekend, and many are still feeling those effects today. Many customers of South Central Power Company are experiencing their 6th day without power and no word of when the power will be restored. A majority of those without power are located in rural parts of Hocking and Perry counties. South Central Power says that the reason for these outstanding outages is because of the rural location of the homes and the tremendous devastation across the county. Also citing downed trees, fallen power lines, and broken electricity poles as reasons for the outage. The company hopes to have restored power to its customers by tomorrow, but says customers could have to wait till Friday. The Ohio Turnpike Commission fires a snowplow driver due to reckless behavior this winter season. The driver was fired Tuesday after damaging vehicles and causing numerous injuries by spraying ice, snow, and slush on vehicles traveling in opposite directions. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says that 18 people were injured and 55 vehicles were damaged. Highway Patrol spokesperson Sergeant Ray Santiago says the patrol's investigation has been turned over to Erie County prosecutor to determine whether criminal charges will be filed.
And while we try to navigate these technical difficulties, I'll just give you a reminder of what's happening outside our window right now. Here in Athens, it's 43 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. We've been seeing some on and off showers, and overall winds are going to be from the southwest, probably around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And looking across the region, we can also assume that our temperatures are going to be very similar as we head across the region. It's going to be a little bit warmer down towards the south, 46 degrees down in Ironton, and even 48 degrees over in Ripley, West Virginia. And then up towards the northern part of our region, it's going to be 41 degrees in Cambridge and 42 degrees in New Martinsville. That's where those stray showers you're going to see for the rest of the rain as it pushes out towards our east. But overall, we're going to see some things to look out for, as we head throughout the week. We're going to see some freezing overnight lows, believe it or not. So as we head into tonight and especially tomorrow night as well, you might see some late rain even heading into Friday night. And depending on if temperatures continue to drop, that will likely change into a wintry mix or even a snow shower or two as we head into Saturday morning. Back to you, Fallon.
Zanesville City Auditor spent 3 days in jail after being accused of violating a protection order. The order was granted to Andrew Body's ex-girlfriend after their romantic relationship ended. He threatened to have her removed from the company she works for and from a board she serves on. Body is accused of breaking this protection order after he sent 2 emails to his ex-girlfriend. He was arrested last week on 2 misdemeanor charges. Body entered a no-contest plea of the misdemeanor charges and was ordered to pay a $1,000 fine. Former Ohio narcotics officer pleads guilty to federal drug and bribery charges. The FBI arrested Marco Marino in September for distributing fentanyl and accepting bribes in exchange for protecting cocaine shipments. Marino resigned from the Columbus Police Department in October. His attorney had no comment on the situation. Marino pleaded guilty yesterday, but his sentence date is yet to be set. He faces 20 years in prison. A police officer arrested with Marino faces his own charges yet to be discussed in court. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty says she was poked in the back after asking colleague Carl Rogers to put a mask on. The representatives were boarding a train and Rogers responded with an expletive. Beatty went to Twitter to describe the incident saying, quote, "When you are ready to grow up and apologize for your behavior, you know where to find me." Representative Rogers apologized on CNN yesterday. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi commented on the altercation earlier today.
Maybe the question is, had a black man poked a white woman and then told her to kiss his blank blank, you tell me what you think would have happened.
The Kentucky House votes to give relief to taxpayers with increased vehicle property tax bills. Vehicle property taxes have risen because of the pandemic. The House passed the proposal on Wednesday and now it heads to the Senate. This proposal will change the method of determining a vehicle's value. Kentucky residents that have already paid their property taxes will receive funds for the increased values. According to the state officials, the 2022 overall valuation for vehicles will go up 40%. For many, this is a big increase in tax bills. High school students in West Virginia are planning a walkout after being forced to attend a Christian-based assembly during school hours. A revival organized by the school's Fellowship of Christian Athletes chapter was held last week at Huntington High School. Cable's County Schools spokesperson says the event was supposed to be voluntary. Spokesperson Jed Flowers says 2 teachers mistakenly brought their entire class to the revival. Officials say this won't happen again. But people who live in the city say even voluntary church services has no place in schools. Ohio's 2021-2022 deer season is over. The season finished Sunday with almost 200,000 deer killed. The deer hunting season occurred in all 88 counties. Almost 400,000 permits were purchased by Ohio hunters across the season. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation's hunting generates more than $853 million in Ohio through the sale of equipment, fuel, food, lodging, and more. Cities across the country are reconsidering their mask requirements, and Canadian truckers are protesting mask mandates are at a standstill at the U.S. border. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
We are just halfway through season 12 and the stage is set for the OHSAA tournament. We will have all the updates on the TVC standings and break down the final week of the regular season. Plus, we hear from the voices of the Buckeyes in our journey beyond the court. Stay up to date on all the heroics as we near tournament time by tuning in to WOUB Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6. From all of us at Hardwood Heroes, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Nova goes where few dare.
Just imagine the size of the bum that this dropped out of.
Finding facts in feces, data in dung.
That's taking a poo.
From blue whales.
I was in a floating pile of whale poop.
To preventing poaching and poo cubes.
How would a square come out of a round hole?
A rare science adventure.
This is where the science happens.
Secrets in the Scat on Nova.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, check out the treasures we discovered in New Hampshire's White Mountains.
I was intrigued because it references Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey both.
I'm absolutely thrilled to see this.
Howard Chandler Christie was basically the Andy Warhol of his time.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from the Omni Mount Washington Resort in New Hampshire.
Evolution left these birds flightless, but that doesn't mean they can't fly. For the first time, meet all 18 species, every member of this remarkable family. From unique forest penguins to penguins that have embraced the modern world, they'll do whatever it takes to adapt and thrive.
States announced plans to lift mask mandates in schools and indoor spaces as hospitalizations drop for those battling COVID. Cities close to home, including Athens, consider their own mask mandates. Chris Wynn has more on the fight against COVID-19.
In the battle against COVID-19.
Over the past 3 weeks, daily cases are down over 65%. Hospital admissions are down 40%.
An encouraging sign as hospitalizations drop below 100,000 for the first time in more than a month, according to data from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
We know that in different areas of the country, cases have fallen more significantly, and this will lead to different approaches and different timing, and we will continue to coordinate closely with state and local leaders.
A growing number of states, from California to New York, have stated their intentions to drop indoor mask mandates in the coming days.
At this time, we say that it's the right decision to lift this mandate for indoor businesses and let counties, cities, and businesses to make their own decisions on what they want to do.
Other states like Connecticut and Massachusetts are also eliminating mask mandates in schools.
Given the extremely low risk for young people, the widespread availability and the proven effectiveness of vaccines, and the distribution of accurate test protocols and tests, it's time to give our kids a sense of normalcy and lift the mask mandate on a statewide basis for schools.
The decision causing a stir with critics who say the timing just isn't right.
When you talk to teacher groups, you hear a variety of opinions there as well. And politicians, our elected officials, have to weigh all of those factors when they're coming forward with their recommendations.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn.
Canada's trucker protests are spreading across the nation in response to COVID-19 restrictions. Thousands of Canadians have hit the streets in trucks, tractors, cars, and on foot to protest Canada's mandates. CNN's Paul Newton has more on the story.
Freedom, it's the mantra here in what has become an eyesore of a parking lot right in front of Canada's Parliament. It stretches for blocks, it's gone on for days, the message the same. We're done with COVID, and we're staying until the government is behind this rig for 17 years. The vaccine is the problem. He says he's vaccinated, but feels he was forced into it. He wants the freedom to choose. As a father, he admits he's stressed, losing hundreds of dollars every. Here's the thing, it's not just truckers. It's not just about the vaccine mandates. These Canadians drove 5 hours and are here to have their say. Because the truckers tapped into a pandemic fatigue they say they can no longer endure. To get change, they say they're staying put. No one has brokered a way out. The latest, effectively paralyzing one of the most important supply chains across any border in the world, the Ambassador Bridge between Windsor and Detroit. Police officials say it may seem easy to resolve, but confrontation and violence is a real
democracy. But also recognizing that it doesn't mean you can take your protest to the point of closing down the busiest economic corridor between the United States and Canada.
But what's at stake couldn't be clearer for both Canada and the U.S. A movement of truckers that can stand their ground, it seems anywhere, and sow chaos. It's for that reason that auto industry executives are joining other high-profile Canadians in warning American supporters of this protest to back.
Or the petrochemical companies in Texas that rely on parts suppliers turning those petrochemicals into plastic parts and sending them north.
Protests have now extended across the Canadian border. U.S. truckers now want in on the action. U.S. truckers are planning a nationwide convoy in protest of mask mandates and look to cause disruption to traffic along their way to Washington. The convoy will begin in California and make its way across the country, ending in Washington, D.C. The nationwide convoy of big rigs is planned to begin March 4th. The U.S. secures its first gold medal in Beijing. That story's still ahead.
And I'm tracking our next weather maker and my full forecast, but for now, take a look at stocks of local interest.
Nova goes where few dare.
Just imagine the size of the bum that this dropped out of.
Finding facts in feces, data in dung.
That's taking a poo.
From blue whales.
I was in a floating pile of whale poop.
To preventing poaching and poo cubes.
How would a square come out of a round hole?
A rare science adventure.
This is where the science happens.
Secrets in the Scat on Nova.
Evolution left these birds flightless, but that doesn't mean they can't fly. For the first time, meet all 18 species, every member of this remarkable family. From unique forest penguins to penguins that have embraced the modern world, they'll do whatever it takes to adapt and thrive.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow. Check out the treasures we discovered in New Hampshire's White Mountains.
I was intrigued because it references Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey both.
I'm absolutely thrilled to see this.
Howard Chandler Christie was basically the Andy Warhol of his time.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from the Omni Mount Washington Resort in New Hampshire.
We are just halfway through season 12 and the stage is set for the OHSAA tournament. We will have all the updates on the TVC standings and break down the final week of the regular season. Plus, we hear from the voices of the Buckeyes in our journey beyond the court. Stay up to date on all the heroics as we near tournament time by tuning in to WOUB Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6. From all of us at Hardwood Heroes, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Newswatch. I'm your lead forecaster, Erin Ashley, and let's take a look outside our windows right now. You can see that there are scattered clouds across the entirety of the state of Ohio, and there's this little band right here that is slowly pushing east. That was the creator of some rain that we saw early this afternoon, and then progressing towards the east as well. But looking at the surface features analysis for right now, actually, you can see that this warm front right here, that is what pushed into our region yesterday, actually. And so that is what's going to be the weather maker that we saw earlier today. And the hour by hour for tonight, if you could excuse our technical difficulties, but right now, looking at 8 p.m., you're going to see some spotty drizzles as that starts to move out of our region. And overall, it's going to feel like 37 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it's going to be overcast as we head throughout the night, believe it or not. It's at 10 p.m., it's going to drop a little bit to 35 degrees Fahrenheit. And then by midnight, we're going to be near freezing at 33 degrees Fahrenheit. But overall, Athens tonight, the low is going to be a low of 29 degrees. So it's going to feel a lot colder than we are typically used to. And it's given those clouds that we've seen throughout the day, not a lot of sun has been able to come through. So again, that's going to be the cause for some freezing temperatures that we've seen throughout the day and throughout the nights, excuse me. But again, those clouds will retreat as we head into the early morning hours, saying around 4 to 5 a.m. But winds come from the west-southwest direction, 5 to 10 miles per hour. And across the region, we can expect to see near freezing temperatures, with some temperatures getting a little closer to freezing towards our south. 32 degrees down in Ironton, 31 degrees in Ripley, and it's going to be even colder to our northwest. It's going to be 25 degrees as your low in Columbus, as well as Newark. It's going to be cloudy overall. Hopefully we'll be seeing some sunnier skies as we head throughout the morning tomorrow. Looking at the hour by hour for tomorrow, you can see that we're going to start off relatively cloudy, but as we progress throughout the early morning, heading towards noon, it's going to warm up to above freezing. Thank God. We finally get some sun tomorrow as weather remains generally uneventful, very pleasant. That is because a high pressure system is just hovering over our area currently. But again, as we head into the week ahead, we can expect to see that temperatures are going to continue rising, hopefully, and then by Friday, we're expected to see temperatures reach as high as 53 degrees with a chance for rain heading into Friday night into Saturday morning. And so that, my friends, if the temperature were to drop below freezing, that is when we're going to start to see a chance for any wintry mix or snow even. But right now, since that temperature is not expected to drop below freezing, that is supposed to be rain showers. But again, stay tuned here at WOUB. We'll have more with the latest with that weather maker. But hopefully, heading into the beginning of next week, we'll finally see some sun. Back to you guys at the desk.
Jacob Ellis, hold on to it. She does it. It's time to move on and fight.
Jacob Ellis has won the USA's first gold medal of the Beijing Olympics. Jacob Ellis secured a gold medal with a win in the women's snowboard cross. Women's snowboard cross is an Olympic event with 4 to 6 women racing down a course to the finish line. With Jacob Ellis's win, that gets the USA's first gold medal. Germany, Norway, and Sweden are at the top of the list. Sorry for the technical difficulties here. But the medal count so far, but Team USA hopes to be sitting at the top of the leaderboard by the end of the games. And
athletes who showed courage in the face of mental health struggles.
The breaking news this morning is Biles announcing she is pulling out of tomorrow's all-around final.
In all levels of competition, whether it's dealing with losing or poor performance, athletes can face mental health challenges. When someone is struggling with anxiety, for example, it may be hard to concentrate or make an athlete feel on edge. It can affect sleep and increase muscle tension, says sports psychiatrist Dr. Joshua Norman with Ohio State Wexner Medical Center.
These things within an athletic population can decrease performance, and it can also increase the risk for an athlete to develop an injury.
That's why Norman says it's important for athletes to take care of their mental health. He says they can do this by having a plan for after their athletic career ends, so it's not as distressing. And if they're struggling, speak up. Don't ignore the problem. Find the right resources. Connect with athletic trainers or sports medicine doctors who can help.
In some ways, it's not too different from training for their sport, except for instead of training physically, you're training your mind to overcome anxiety or develop tools that can help you navigate.
Norman says mental health maintenance can help decrease developing issues and even increase performance. For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Dr. Norman says some athletes can show signs of post-traumatic stress disorder following a major injury, which can affect their recovery.
Coming up in sports, Alexander and Vinton County boys hoops are in a deadlock at the top of their conference following a big game last night. And right after the break, the winning streak is over. Ohio men's basketball had another rough outcome in a battle of the top two teams in the MAC. That and more coming up next on Newswatch. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
In the event of a lockdown, there are simple steps to take that will keep us all safe.
Some people will say, oh, it's just some kid playing. The problem is we can't take that risk anymore.
It feels very scary. Sometimes I don't want to come to school because I think I might not come home the next day.
So were you suggesting and perhaps somebody should have been armed and killed somebody?
Ready! Fire! The building lockdown drill is now over.
Bulletproof. Monday, February 14th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
On Greta Thunberg, a year to change the world. From the Arctic Circle to Poland to the Swiss Alps, Greta journeys to raise climate change awareness.
You would risk seeing more rockfall as well.
When we have snowmelt, that can lead to rockfall.
And inspire others to step up.
World leaders are behaving like children, so it falls on us to be the adults in the room.
Greta Thunberg, a year to change the world.
This is crazy.
On Finding Your Roots, John Leguizamo.
A ninth grandfather? What, are you going to go to the beginning of time?
And Lena Waithe.
It feels like one big, huge blessing to be connected to all of these people.
Monumental family history.
My chest is pumped up a little bit. I do feel a little boastful.
And an unexpected ancestor.
You descend from a Native American woman.
What?
Nova goes where few dare.
Just imagine the size of the bum that this dropped out of.
Finding facts in feces, data in dung.
That's taking a poo.
From blue whales.
I was in a floating pile of whale poop.
To preventing poaching and poo cubes.
How would a square come out of a round hole?
A rare science adventure.
This is where the science happens.
Secrets in the Scat on Nova.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Kerp. Ohio men's basketball is 10-2 in MAC play, both losses coming to the hands of the Toledo Rockets. Last night's game had a similar script to the first when Ohio and Toledo met back in January. Toledo came away with a 77-62 victory in this one. The Rockets blasted off to a quick start in the first half, shooting over 60% from the field. Ryan Rollins was one of 4 Rockets to score at least 8 points in the opening half. Toledo led by 11 at the intermission. Now, Ohio tried to claw back then in the second half. Tommy Schmock buries one of his 4 threes of the half. He led the Bobcats with 17 points. but Toledo responded with big plays every time Ohio cut into the lead. The Rockets dethroned the Bobcats at the top of the MAC. Head coach Jeff Bowles says the rough first half again made the difference.
Got off to a good start, and then I thought we were step slow there late in the first half. We missed some shots that they turned into transition baskets. And you can't give them easy baskets in transition. Against a good team, you got to make those opportunities. I think we're 7 for 13 from the free throw line, and we kind of looked like it was game 4 in 8 days a little bit.
Ohio plays its 5th game in 10 days tomorrow as it travels to Central Michigan. We are 9 days away from the first pitch of Ohio's baseball season. One of the biggest questions for the Bobcats is who will fill the shoes of Joe Rock. The Southpaw was drafted 68th overall by the Colorado Rockies in this past summer's MLB draft. Rock was the Bobcats' ace pitcher in 2021, picking up 8 wins and throwing a 7-inning no-hitter. Head coach Craig Moore says there will be a committee of pitchers to fill the void.
When you lose someone with the ability that Joe Rock showed and showcased, I don't think you just look for one person to replace him. I think you have to look for several people to kind of step up their game and be able to perform maybe a little bit better than what they've had in the past. And I think that's how you replace a player like Joe.
The Bobcats are set to take on USC Upstate next Friday to open up their season. Now things are coming right down to the wire in the TVC Ohio title race. The Alexander Spartans made things a lot more interesting last night as the end of the regular season nears. The Spartans took on first place Vinton County in MacArthur and took down the Vikings in a thriller 65-63. Kyler DiAugustino finished the night with an impressive 30 points. Alexander is tied with Vinton County for the top spot in the TVC Ohio. DiAugustino and head coach Jeff Skinner say they are pleased with where the team is right now.
Practicing all year, working hard for moments like this, and we're finally starting to step up as a team, and we're playing well.
It's always good going into the last week of the season to have games prior to the tournament that means something.
It is crunch time in the TVC, and Hardwood Heroes will be out at both boys and girls games tonight. On the girls' side, we have a big matchup between Alexander and Vinton County, the top 2 teams in the Ohio. Athens and Nelsonville York headline the boys' games, both looking to finish the season strong. Now be sure to visit woub.org/heroes for the recaps. Now, Nick, it's going to be an exciting next few weeks here in Ohio. This week you got the girls' playoffs kicking off, and then next week we got the boys.
Seems like everything's heating up come tournament time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely some exciting times. Some other exciting stuff is a 6th grader from Ohio gets a surprise of a lifetime. Isaac Meckham is a hardcore Cincinnati Bengals fan, and he just found out he's going to the Super Bowl. Reliable Transportation Solutions decked out an entire class at Mason Intermediate in Bengals gear today. And 12-year-old Isaac Meckham found out he would be headed on a trip to LA with tickets to the big game, where he can root for his beloved team in person. Meckham said, quote, "It feels good that they're good, and now I'm going to the Super Bowl and it feels weird. This will be the Bengals' 3rd trip to the Super Bowl, and they've yet to win one."
And taking one final look at what's happening outside our windows tomorrow, it's going to be 42 degrees as our high with mostly cloudy skies. Generally, it's going to be pretty uneventful, but overall, it's going to be a very pleasant day with winds being rather gusty from the southwest direction, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Across the region, expect to see temperatures in the low 40s to upper 30s, with cooler temperatures being towards our northwest as well as our northeast. 38 degrees in Columbus and in Cambridge. Back to you guys.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Fallon Howard.
And for Brian Kerp and Aaron Ashley, I'm Nick Velan. Stay tuned coming up next. And remember, you can find out the latest information at woub.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Hocking Valley Bank, offering mortgage loans or refinancing on an existing home, making it easy for dreams to become a reality. Hocking Valley Bank, we know loans. Support comes from Ohio University's Center for Campus and Community